Let's talk about lies. It's something we've all encountered, no matter who we are or where we come from. We all know them, right? Those little fibs we tell to avoid hurting someone's feelings, and those massive deceptions that can change lives. Those little white lies, those big fat whoppers, they come in all shapes and sizes. Everyone's told one, everyone's been burned by one. It's a universal experience that connects us all. It's a human thing. This whole lying business. From the smallest child to the oldest adult, lies are part of our daily lives. No matter your background, your ethnicity, your favorite flavor of ice cream, we've all experienced the sting of a lie. It's like a rite of passage. Think about it. That time your friend said your terrible haircut looked different. They didn't want to hurt your feelings, but you knew the truth. Or that politician promising the world and delivering, well, not much. We've all been there, feeling let down and disillusioned. We navigate a world of half-truths and outright fabrications every single day. It's in the news we read, the social media we consume, and the conversations we have. And you know what? That's kind of messed up. It makes us question everything and everyone. Because lying erodes trust, it creates suspicion and doubt, it builds walls between us and makes genuine connection harder to achieve. It makes it hard to know what's real and what's a carefully constructed facade. We end up second-guessing ourselves and others. We're all in this together, folks. Let's try to keep it real. Honesty might be tough, but it's the foundation of trust and understanding. Let's build a world where truth is valued and lies are left behind. Now let's talk about racism. It's a topic that can be uncomfortable, but it's crucial to address. This one's a bit heavier, but just as universal as lying. Racism affects every society, every community, and every individual in some way. Racism is like a virus infecting every corner of the globe. It spreads through ignorance, fear, and hatred, often passed down through generations. It doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care about your passport or your skin color. It can be found in the most unexpected places, affecting people from all walks of life. It's an equal opportunity offender. No one is immune to its effects, and it can manifest in both overt and subtle ways. Racism is the belief that one race is superior to another. This toxic ideology has led to countless injustices and atrocities throughout history. It's judging individuals based on stereotypes and prejudices instead of seeing them for who they truly are. These judgments can be deeply ingrained and hard to change. It's denying opportunities and perpetuating inequalities based on something as arbitrary as skin color. This can affect education, employment, and even personal relationships. It's easy to think of racism as this big, abstract concept, but it's not just a distant issue. It's something that impacts real people every day. But the truth is, it shows up in our everyday lives, in the subtle glances, the offhand comments, and the systemic barriers that many face, in the jokes we tell, the assumptions we make, the way we treat people who are different from us. It's a challenge we must all confront and work to overcome. History is full of examples of lies and racism, from the propaganda used to justify colonialism to the lies spread about different ethnic groups during times of conflict. These behaviors have been used to manipulate, control, and oppress for centuries. Remember the Holocaust? The Nazis used lies about Jewish people to justify their horrific actions. They spread propaganda, dehumanized an entire group of people, and committed unspeakable atrocities. But it's not just ancient history. Look at the Rwandan genocide, where lies and hatred fueled the mass killing of Tutsis by Hutus, or the ongoing persecution of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar. Lies and racism are not relics of the past. They're alive and well in the 21st century. Think racism is a thing of the past? Think again. It's still happening today in subtle and not so subtle ways. From racial profiling by law enforcement to discriminatory hiring practices, racism is embedded in the very fabric of our societies. We see it in the news every day. Black men being shot by police, Muslim women being harassed for wearing hijabs, immigrants being demonized and dehumanized. These aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of a larger systemic problem. Section 5, the psychology of deception, why we lie. Why do people lie? It's a question that has puzzled philosophers and psychologists for centuries. The truth is, there's no single answer. People lie for a whole bunch of reasons. Sometimes we lie to protect ourselves or others. Think about the classic example of lying to a murderer about the whereabouts of a friend. In that situation, a lie might seem like the lesser of two evils. But more often than not, we lie for selfish reasons. We lie to avoid punishment, to gain an advantage, or to make ourselves look better. We lie to manipulate, to deceive, and to control. Section 6, the roots of racism, fear, ignorance, and power. So, why are people racist? Again, there's no easy answer, but at its core, racism is about fear, ignorance, and power. Fear of the unknown, fear of the other, ignorance about different cultures and ways of life, the desire to maintain power and privilege over others. These are the toxic ingredients that fuel racism. Racism thrives on stereotypes and generalizations. It's about reducing individuals to a single aspect of their identity, their race, and then using that to justify discrimination and prejudice. Section 7, societal influences, the role of culture and upbringing. Here's the thing. None of us are born racist. From the moment we take our first breath, we are blank slates, free from prejudice and bias. It's not something that's encoded in our DNA. Racism is learned. It's a behavior and mindset that we pick up from our surroundings. It's passed down from generation to generation through cultural norms, societal structures, and yes, even our own families. The stories we hear from our elders, the traditions we follow, and the societal cues we observe all play a part. Think about the messages we're exposed to from a young age, the books we read, the movies we watch, the conversations we overhear. Each of these elements contributes to the tapestry of our understanding. All of these things shape our understanding of the world and our place in it. They influence how we see ourselves and others and how we interact with the world around us. If we're constantly bombarded with images and narratives that reinforce stereotypes and prejudices, it becomes ingrained in our psyche. It's no wonder that racism persists. These repeated messages create a cycle that's hard to break. We need to be critical of the messages we consume and the values we internalize. By questioning and challenging these narratives, we can begin to dismantle the prejudices that have been built over generations. Section 8, breaking the cycle, education, empathy, and action. So, how do we break this cycle of lies and racism? It starts with education. We need to learn about different cultures, challenge our own biases, and develop empathy for those who are different from us. It's about having those uncomfortable conversations with family and friends. It's about calling out racism when we see it, even if it's uncomfortable. It's about using our voices and platforms to amplify marginalized voices and challenge systemic injustice. It's not going to be easy, but the only way to create a more just and equitable world is to acknowledge the problem, understand its roots, and commit to being part of the solution. Section 9. A future without lies and racism. Can we imagine a world without lies and racism? It seems like a utopian dream, something out of a science fiction novel. But here's the thing. We have to try. We owe it to ourselves, to future generations, to keep striving for a better world. It starts with each and every one of us. By choosing honesty over deception, empathy over indifference, and action over apathy, we can create a ripple effect that will be felt for generations to come. It's a long and winding road, but it's a journey worth taking. Because a world without lies and racism is a world worth fighting for.